If every reward you give to your players is just another bag of gold, then congrats, you've turned your tabletop campaign into a day job. They're not adventuring anymore, they're accountants. And the last time I checked, nobody gathered around a table to play Dungeons and Debits. Well, maybe not all of you. Daggerheart gives us permission to stop pretending the treasure chest is the point. It puts the focus where it belongs, on rewards that shape the story, not just the inventory page. Gold, loot, consumables, equipment, they're in the system, they matter. Being a GM in Daggerheart is knowing when to give a player a shiny sword, and when to give them something they never expected. So today, you glorious lava gremlins, we're breaking down how to reward your players in Daggerheart. We'll talk about the mechanics of gold and loot, yes, but we'll also push it further into the philosophy of rewarding players with relationships, secrets, and story impact. You know, the good stuff. Treasure tables are easy. Anyone can roll a d12 and toss a health potion into the party's pack. The real challenge, and the real joy, is making rewards feel meaningful. And before this video is over, I'll show you why the most powerful reward in Daggerheart isn't a weapon, or a gem, or even a chest of gold. It's something else entirely. Gold and the economy. Daggerheart doesn't just chain you to a rigid economy, the way older systems do. Instead, it hands you a dial and says, turn this to match the tone of your story. Gold comes in handfuls, bags, and chests. That's it. Simple denomination, not 1,000 copper coins rattling around like loose change. And you get to decide, is gold the lifeblood of survival, or is it an abstract backdrop? If you want a survivalist tone, make gold matter. Rations cost a handful, mounts are expensive, inns take their toll, and all of a sudden, every handful of coins is a question. Do we eat tonight, or do we save some for new armor? If you want cinematic tone, you can handwave most of that. Maybe players get to pick 1 or 2 items at a shop without counting coins. And Bob's your uncle, the story isn't about who's broke. It's about the choices the character makes when the opportunity knocks. I have dipped a toe into both options in my Daggerheart GMing career. In one campaign, gold was a survival mechanic. The group scraped by on crusts of bread, bartering their last coin for a night under a leaky roof. That hunger gave their victories weight. You could tell by how they reacted they remembered the exact moment when they could finally afford horses, because it changed everything. As for the other table, gold barely mattered. Instead, when they visited a smith, I laid out a handful of items that made sense for that city. They weren't worried about the cost, they were worried about which choice would haunt them later. Neither approach is right or wrong. Gold in Daggerheart is not the center of the story, it's a tool you use to tilt the tone. But don't forget the campaign frames you use also matter. If you're running Age of Umbra, gold isn't going to matter. The players are trying to survive. The items they find along their journey will have a lot more value and a higher chance for them to see tomorrow. Equipment and rarity. Now, equipment in Daggerheart works on rarity and tiers. At character creation, you get your starter weapons and armor. After that, the GM decides how upgrades appear, through shops, NPC gifts, or prying the shield off a corpse of a fallen adversary. What matters most is rarity. Common, uncommon, rare, and legendary. The higher you climb, the more the game signals, this is important. Don't flood your players with upgrades. In some systems, a sword every couple of sessions is normal. In Daggerheart, restraint is your friend. If a player gets a new item every week, the magic wears off. But if you fight tooth and nail, and finally claim a rare cloak from a fallen foe, that item carries a story. Running a political game? Have your players earn a rare set of armor that allows them to disguise themselves. Mechanically, it's not the most powerful thing on the table, but narratively, it can shift an entire political arc on its head. Suddenly, the rogue could impersonate a noble, and all the secrets fell open. Look for what your players are struggling with, or trying to achieve, and tailor the items that you give them to that. Think about rarity as not just a number, but a storytelling dial. Commons are flavor, uncommons are nice perks, rares are arc shapers, and legendaries are campaign defining. Loot and consumables. Let's talk about the fun stuff. Loot tables. Daggerheart gives us lists of items and consumables, with a rolling guide based on rarity. Roll a couple of d12s, get a result, and boom, you've got loot. Common items like nets, torches, or speaking orbs show up in shops or abandoned camps. But rare and legendary items? Those are kept under lock and key, or guarded by a powerful adversary. Consumables are my favourite. They're the one-use treasures, potions, venoms, enchanted teas. They give players a burst of excitement without breaking the long-term balance. A potion that restores stress, or a vial that blinds enemies, for one round can feel like gold in the middle of a fight. You can use consumables to flavour your world. Don't just hand out Potion A, let them find fairy wine in a hidden grove. Let a merchant offer a feather that burns away your stress. Same mechanic, different storytelling impact. If your players keep going down easily, give them an item that brings them back up to 1 HP, one-time use. Mechanically, it will improve their chance of surviving. But more importantly, they'll argue over who can carry it, fear losing it, and try not to use it. That one item can tell you more story than 100 random trinkets ever could. Loot isn't just about power, it's about flavour, culture, and narrative weight. Rewards beyond treasure. And here's where we step beyond the table entirely. The best rewards in Daggerheart, and really in any TTRPG, aren't always things you can hold. They're things that shape the world, the relationships, the story, alliances and favours. Maybe an NPC promises loyalty, a faction grants the party safe passage, a merchant offers lifelong discounts. Maybe it's access. Clearing a dungeon might unlock a hidden city. Earning trust might open the door to a forbidden library. These rewards don't fit in a bag, but they change the campaign. Perhaps it's boons and blessings. Sometimes helping a deity or saving a shrine can grant a narrative blessing. Maybe it's a one-time hope bonus. Maybe it's a permanent scar that whispers with magic. Or maybe information. Secrets, after all, are treasure. It could be in the form of letters, maps, journals, holding more value than any blade. And it doesn't have to be a reward there and then. NPCs can remember the good deeds of the party, and when they're in need later down the line, they might just come and repay the favour with backup. Use rewards to weave story. Gold and gear keep the engine running, but narrative rewards keep the players invested. Balance timing and story. Now let's address the danger, because yes, you can mess this up. Too much loot, you get inflation. Players stop caring. Too little, the world feels stingy, and the adventure starts to feel hollow. What you need is balance and timing. Don't just hand out rewards every time the dice hit the table. Tie them into moments that matter. A stingy king gives nothing but a grudging nod. A generous elven queen showers them with gifts, but at a cost. A merchant in one town sells at double the price, while another throws in a free item for saving their child. See what I'm doing? The reward itself is telling a story. I've run campaigns where loot was scarce, and the tension was electric. Every health potion was a lifeline. And I've run campaigns where loot was everywhere, and suddenly players were tossing aside perfectly good swords, because they were bored of them. Which one do you think had more of an impact on them? Rewards lose meaning when they're detached from the narrative. If every chest is just a random drop, it becomes noise. But if that chest holds the sword of a fallen hero, whose ghost still haunts the blade, that's a story. The most powerful reward I've seen in Daggerheart isn't gold, it isn't loot, it isn't even a legendary item, it's the impact. The moment a reward reshapes the story, deepens a character's arc, or changes how the players see the world, that's the treasure they'll never forget. Maybe it's a cloak that lets them sneak into the enemy's stronghold. Maybe it's the loyalty of a rescued ally. Maybe it's knowledge that changes everything. When you reward players in a way that makes them feel the world itself is alive, reacting to them, acknowledging them, that's when you've done your job as a GM. So my pyromaniac storytellers, give your players gold, hand them equipment, roll on the loot tables. It's all part of the system and it all matters, but don't stop there. Remember, the greatest rewards in Daggerheart aren't just shiny objects, they're the story's catalysts. They're the friendships, the scars, the secrets, the moments of hope that make the table lean forward and say, wait, this just changed everything. Use rewards not as handouts, but as storytelling tools. And when you do, you'll find that your players don't just remember the loot, they'll remember the story that came with it. What was the best loot your players ever received, or you've ever given out as a GM? Let me know in the comments. And as always, stay spicy, adventurers.